Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this, our Sunday service on March 14th of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Lower Bucks. And congratulations, you managed to spring forward into spring, and you're here at the right time, and we're glad that you are. We are a congregation that seeks to foster our community, to grow our spirits, to serve others, and to work for justice. And we say each and every Sunday, as we welcome one another, that we hope what you experience is love, acceptance, and inspiration. And since the last time I was lay leader for the fellowship service, I've been thinking about that word inspiration. You know, I think all of us think about that in the context that it's offered and know that its meaning is motivation. But think about it. It happens to be a word that has a root, inspire, that means something different. And that word inspire is that act of breathing, you know? So think about breathing. Sitting up straight, shoulders back and down, that chest open up the heart, and taking in that life-giving air. So as we're together today, may the words, the messages, the stories, and the music fill you up, and may you be inspired. So let me get the screen going here for you so that we can start our service. All of this month we've been talking about the topic of respect. And we know that respect is the way that one another's worth and dignity. The UU minister, Tom Owentoll, has suggested that respect is more important than love. The word respect comes from a Latin root that means to look back or to regard, as we're talking about what the different meanings of words might be. It reminds us that when we look with the hard eyes of judgment, we would be wise to look again with the soft eyes of respect, that we might truly see beneath superficialities. We are fortunate once again to have the Reverend Dr. Craig Rubano deliver our message this morning. For those of us who are familiar with Craig, we remember that he was co-minister of the UU congregation of Monmouth County in Lincroft, New Jersey. And he has been a guest minister at UUFLB since as early as 2011. And during that time, he was pursuing his master's in divinity and theology, as well as a PhD in pastoral theology at Princeton Theological Seminary. He was ordained to the ministry in 2018 by the UU congregation of Princeton, New Jersey. As a graduate of Yale College and Columbia University, he lives in the summit of 10 Mile Run Mountain, just north of Princeton, where he has helped to raise 2 nieces and 2 Nigerian dwarf goats. On that topic of raising goats, his sermon topic is respect among the animals. When it comes to animals, respect is a two-way street. If we strive for an increased respectful stance toward our fellow non-human animal creatures in this world, they, in turn, often have much to teach us that is applicable to our interactions with our fellow human beings. This morning, we'll explore the kinship we have with non-human animals. So now, let us enter into worship together. And Avi has provided us a cute little number by Bob Marley, and note, we get to enjoy him playing the ukulele this morning.
Said don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Said don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I woke up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true. They were singing, "This is my message to you." Said, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright, be alright. I said, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true. They were singing, "This is my message to you." Said, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright, be alright. Said, don't worry about a thing. Da, 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 da. Every little thing is gonna be alright. All right.
We are so very fortunate to have Avi provide us with our music each and every Sunday, and how talented he is. So say the words with me as I light the chalice. As we light the chalice and fully embrace the sacred, let us hold in our hearts the Unitarian Universalist principle, which calls upon us to respect the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Our opening words this morning by Elizabeth Googe go as this: nothing living should ever be treated with contempt. Whatever it is that lives, a person, a tree, or a bird, should be touched gently because the time is short. Civilization is another word for respect for life. And now Angela Connon, our Director of Religious Exploration, has a cute little story in our Message for All Ages.
Good morning, everybody. So today's service is about animals, and our worship theme this month is respect. And I couldn't help but wanting to go in a silly direction with animals, but I think I found a really fun story that also has some nice messages about responsibility and expectations and needs. So here we go with The Pigeon Wants a Puppy. The pigeon wants a puppy. I really do. Oh, hello. How are you? I'm fine. Thanks for asking. By the way, do you know what I want? What I've wanted forever, at least since last Tuesday? A puppy. Puppy, puppy, puppy. Oh, don't worry. I'll take care of it. I promise I'll water it once a month. What? Everybody knows that puppies need plenty of sunshine and water. Oh, I get it. You don't want me to be happy, do you? You don't want me to take a piggyback ride on my puppy or play tennis with it. You just don't understand. I'm a puppy-loving pigeon. Aw, puppies. Woof! What's that? Woof, woof! Is it possible my dreams have come true? Woof! Ah! It's huge! The teeth, the hair, that wet nose, the slobber, the claws. I mentioned the teeth, right? Really, I had no idea. I changed my mind. I want a walrus. And that's it. I hope you had fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I bet you were laughing like I was at how Angela was reading that story. She's very brave to read with such animation, but that story had a lot of great messages. And who amongst us hadn't sat there and hasn't been in the place of saying that we wanted something, but not sometimes realizing that responsibility that we were going to take on. So thank you, Angela, for bringing that cute little story to us this morning. And speaking of beautiful, I think that Avi has picked a gorgeous song that I wasn't familiar with as a Disney tune for our musical interlude. So listen to this.
You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you, and for once never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friend, and we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper-skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountain. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
I'd never heard that song before, and when I listened before the service to Avi perform that music, I was just so deeply moved, and I hope you were as well, to realize that our world is a beautiful place with lots of different colors and creatures in it. And on that note, I invite Reverend Craig Rubano to join us for our reading.
Hello, UU Fellowship of Lower Bucks. It is wonderful to be among you again. When it comes to us and non-human animals, respect can be a two-way street. If we strive for an increased respectful stance toward our fellow non-human animal creatures in this world, they in turn often have much to teach us. This morning, we will explore the kinship we have with non-human animals as a foundation of respect. After my homily, I will invite you and your non-human beloveds into a time of prayer, so you may want to get them ready. But in order to invoke and welcome non-human animals, at least into our thoughts, I offer The Calling of the Creatures, a short poem written by UU minister Ian Riddell. Come, hoof and trunk and tail and horn and paw and wing and claw. Come, bird and reptile, mammal-born, all full of nature's law. Bring bark and crow and ribbit too, and silent stare and hiss. Bring purr and trill and warble, moo, and voice no ear can miss. We gather here each life and all to celebrate and sing, to honor creatures large and small. 'Tis holiness we bring.
A stark reminder that the music of our world are the sounds of all the creatures amongst us. Our split plate recipient for the month of March is the UUSC. That stands for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee and their program Freedom for Immigrants. This program coordinates and expands visitation for immigrants in detention throughout the United States. They also monitor the conditions in detention as well as assist and provide vital contact for those immigrants. In addition, the program advocates for all of the immigrants that are in detention. So please give generously. And I'll remind you that in the chat, you can find the link to our online split plate, or you'll find that on our website. And if you're so inclined, you're always welcome to mail a check to the UU office. We just ask you to put split plate in the memo line so we know how to apply your donation appropriately. And thank you so much for your generosity. And so it's my pleasure now to invite Reverend Craig to deliver his message.
At the turn of the 13th century, Francis of Assisi, son of a wealthy silk merchant, experienced a transformational rousing from the bubble of his entitlement when he was approached by a person begging for alms. In that moment, Francis was convicted of his privilege, and he caught up the beggar, giving up all that lay in his pockets. Francis had begun a lengthy process of conversion toward respect for his fellow humans, no matter their so-called station, resulting in the renunciation of his inheritance and his taking up the life of an itinerant preacher. In 1209, Francis developed a following of brothers who lived simply together, preaching messages of love and peace to the surrounding countryside. It is said, one day, as he and his friars were making a trip to the Spoleto Valley, Francis spotted an area that seemed to be filled with birds. He left his friends in the road and ran toward the birds who, rather than taking to flight, waited for him patiently. He was amazed to be given such an audience. As he stood in their presence, Francis realized that the birds had everything they needed, that without sowing or reaping, they received the guidance and protection of the source of all creation. He was filled with a spirit of holy contemplation and gratitude. And he felt his already amplified, respectful circle of concern extending even further past the human-animal divide. Francis went around touching the birds on their heads, blessing each in turn. Then, turning back to his companions, Francis thanked God for the blessing the birds had given him. This was the first of many stories involving Francis and non-human animals and the natural world, leading to his reputation as patron saint of the animals and the environment, and leading to a long tradition of respectful human and non-human observances on St. Francis's feast day of October 4th in many denominations, including Unitarian Universalism. An elaborate ceremony of animal blessing is often held. UUs have launched an entire ministry devoted to non-human animal awareness and justice-making initiatives in service to an eco-systemically ethical spirituality. The Unitarian Universalist Animal Ministry is a group of Earth citizens filled with a desire to grow in expressing their faith through respectful compassion toward all beings. You can find their many resources and ongoing projects at uuam.org. At its heart, this ministry focuses our attention on the interconnectivity we share with our fellow earthly creation. Non-human animals remind us to rejoice in what is, even as they alert us that our beings do not stop at the borders of our skin, but instead are integrally connected with those of others in the world. Animals of all kinds reach into our hearts, beckoning us into play, into care, into respect, and into compassion. One of the leaders at UUAM, Gary Kowalski, writes, "Look into the eyes of a non-human animal. Reflect that their being is a never-to-be-duplicated expression of the universe. What you look upon is a living spirit. Greet and respect it. Become aware of the great antiquity within those eyes, the millennia of evolution they hold within their gaze. This is a creature who is alive and has desires like you. It walks the same ground and breathes the same air. It feels pain and enjoys its senses as you do. And in this, we are all kin. In that kinship, all life exists. Through that kinship, we can find wholeness. Out of that kinship, we can draw wisdom and understanding for the healing of our common home." I'd suggest that first we need more fully to understand the true kinship we share with other animals. Back in the hunter-gatherer days, non-human animals were on a more even playing field closer to us, and various species of humans, Neanderthalensis, Floresiensis, Ergaster, Habilis, Denisoba, and Sapiens, all had respect for other animals, a reverence, a spirituality of shared embodiment. When sapiens took up agriculture, however, all other hominins having been rendered extinct, likely by sapiens, when they began domesticating animals for food and labor strength, we rendered them dependent. and we began to call the shots, writing into our holy scriptures an entitled dominionist perspective. In time, we have become increasingly inured to the idea that we have anything to learn from non-humans, or indeed that we are part and parcel of the same evolutionary continuity that has led to all of our existences. Dutch primatologist and ethologist Frans de Waal is a leader in the burgeoning field of evolutionary cognition, one that dispenses with human versus non-human animal dualisms, not comparing separate categories of intelligence, but rather exploring variations within a single one. In his recent book, Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are?, de Waal stresses that all animals, including humans, are part of a single branching line of evolutionary development. When broken down into components, almost all human phenomena can be found elsewhere in the animal kingdom, or perhaps we should say kingdom. Nothing evolves all of a sudden without antecedents. Every trait taps into existing structures and processes. Now, that hasn't prevented us from attempting to draw lines between us and them, engaging in the anthropo-denial of de Waal's coinage, which is the a priori rejection of human-like traits in other animals or animal-like traits in us. We have spent a lot of time, historically, keeping non-human animals at arm's length. And the closer the animal to our genome, primates like chimpanzees or bonobos with whom we share 97% of our DNA, the more stringently we place the separation. De Waal says that it's similar to how people in neighboring countries who resemble each other the most joke about one another. The Dutch find nothing to laugh at in the Chinese or Brazilians, says de Waal, but they relish a good joke about the Belgians. DNA studies reveal that humans barely differ enough from bonobos and chimpanzees to deserve their own genus. It is only for historical reasons that taxonomists have let us keep the Homo genus all to ourselves. We are always looking for the one big difference that would set us especially apart from non-human animals. But whether those proposed only ours traits have been opposable thumbs, cooperation, tool use, humor, altruism, delayed gratification, reconciling after fights, empathy for others, a social world understanding, even linguistic ability, we've continually moved the human-only goalposts whenever another animal's abilities has crept too close for human entitlement comfort. Even as we guard our supposedly sacrosanct consciousness, we have great difficulty determining what exactly it is. Non-human animals plan ahead. They understand cause and effect relations. They know what others know and what they don't know. They have political talents. Are they unconscious? And if we base consciousness on brain size or on the number of neural connections, we have company. Elephants, in fact, beat us on both those counts. Self-awareness, it seems, comes in gradations. De Waal writes, evolutionarily speaking, it would be a true miracle if we had the fancy cognition that we believe we have, while our fellow animals had none of it. A shared evolutionary background to mental processes offers a powerful argument against human-animal dualism. We are shaped by the same forces that have created all the other species in a sloped, gradualist continuum of evolutionary development. Every single species has profound insights to offer us, given that their cognition is the product of the same forces that have shaped ours. The study of animal cognition not only raises the esteem in which we hold other species, but also teaches us not to overestimate our own mental complexity. It would be better, Duvall suggests, if we spent more time learning to think like other animals with whom we share the planet, to open our minds to their specific circumstances and goals, and to understand them on their own terms. Who knows what discoveries lay in store if we do? And so today, I embrace the spirit of St. Francis by encouraging you to consider offering and receiving a blessing with those non-human animals in your lives. Whenever we bless anything or anyone, we release ourselves from self-isolation and from narrow self-awareness, and we remind ourselves that we are connected to the whole, to nature, to the universe, to the source of all being, to the spirit of life, to a God of many names. We also acknowledge that we have a responsibility that extends beyond our immediate needs, and that entering into relationship with our surroundings is a two-way enrichment exercise. We add value through our commitments, and in turn we gain value because we have expanded the breadth of our respect and compassion. An animal blessing touches the heart of Unitarian Universalist values by honoring and celebrating and inhabiting the inherent dignity and worth of all beings, and by promoting the interconnectivity of all life. I invite you now to gather your non-human animals to your side, either physically or in thought, and to center yourselves in prayerful meditation and blessing. Hear these words, written by the Reverend Christine C. Robinson. Surrounded by the animals we love, we remember with gratitude the animal companions who have blessed our lives. We give thanks for our childhood pets who taught us to love and to cry. We give thanks for our children's pets who help us to teach them responsibility and relationship. And we give thanks for the pets who brighten our days and comfort our nights. We remember that many animals suffer, that some animals are deserted or tortured or hungry. We remember that nature can be cruel and that people can be mean. We remember and want to help. We know that many animals contribute to our lives, worker animals who guard us and find our lost and guide the blind, the animals who provide us food and clothing, who tote our burdens, entertain us with their antics, animals who give their lives to help us learn. Spirit of life, help us to remember that we live and work and love among the animals. Help us to be their friends, to love them and care for them and protect them from harm, to thank them when we use their lives for ours. Especially this morning, bless these animals who are the companions of our lives. Hear our outpouring of love and gratitude for them, and help us translate that into love and gratitude for all your creatures. We bless these animals we love. We pledge to care for them tenderly and faithfully, and to remember that we are not alone on the earth. Amen. In blessing, we are blessed, and healing begins. May it be so.
Well, that really helped me to stop and reflect on all of the times I've shared my life with my furry companions and friends. Now is the time when we share our joys and our sorrows. So if you have something that you'd like to share this morning, go to the participants controls in Zoom and then raise your hand and we can help you to unmute. And while people are locating that information, I'll go ahead and share my own joy. And that is, I'm seeing forward progress in the vaccination process. I hope all of you are experiencing that. I finally got my first shot yesterday. So I think we are seeing the light at the end of our tunnel. So that certainly is a joy that I think we can all share today. Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
Bill and Mary Jane.
I would like to share. First, I'd like to find out whether Arlette has succeeded in getting somebody. I hope she has. I have a friend. She used to be Unitarian with us. She's a Unitarian someplace else now. Maybe somebody remember Judy Rogers. She's ill, and she's 80 years old, and she has not been able to get a vaccine. She has gotten up at 4 o'clock in the morning to try. She's tried everywhere that anybody suggests. She can't go to St. Luke's, that's too far, where Bill and I had our last shot this week. But I think it's so awful that, in Pennsylvania especially, it's not available to everybody. Arlette, I hope you have yours or have registered for somebody that, anyway, Judy is ill. She needs a vaccine and she cannot get one. Try as they will. Any suggestion you make, she's probably tried. And I know that in Pennsylvania it's worse than it is in other places. That's my thing.
Thank you, Mary, for reminding us of the need that still exists out there, but hopefully things are getting better, and we'll share your prayers for your friend that she's able to locate something soon. Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
Arlette.
Yes, I'm happy to say that I have an appointment for my first dose next Thursday. I was so thrilled when I got that phone call. So that's good. I also want to share something sad. The son of a friend was just diagnosed with a autoimmune disease, one of those horrible diseases. And he's in his 30s and has 2 children. So a long, difficult road ahead for him.
Thank you, Arlette. Yeah, I think that sometimes with the pandemic this past year, we often forget the health challenges that still continue. and exist. So we hope your family member friend is going to be able to handle the situation. Anyone else?
Donna, hang on, I have to find her. There we go.
Hi, if everyone can say prayers for the Connolly family. Our friend's mother passed away tragically last week. And just prayer to the Connolly family and everyone who was left, and send some love and prayers and healing. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. I'm certain that we will all remember the Conley family. Anyone else this morning?
Gloria.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
My son-in-law is going through awful treatments for prostate cancer. Now his prostate was removed, but the cancer returned, and it's going to be a long, long haul. And he's the father of my granddaughter, Cassandra, and the husband of my daughter, Holly. But they're a precious family who have just taken care of the rest of us for many, many years and gotten us all through everything with their family celebrations and cookouts and parties. And to have this terrible tragedy happen to them, he's a radiologist, she's a nuclear technologist, so they're medical professionals. And their daughter is under medical intervention for alopecia, mental intervention. So it's a tough road ahead for them. And I can't do much to help. I do all I can. I always pass on the inspiration that I learned from the Sunday sermons. They're always wonderful. And I rephrase them and send them to Cassandra to inspire her and give her some comfort, ways to find joy in life. So I appreciate every speaker we've had. They've really helped me to help that family. So I hope try to remember Ray in your meditations. He needs a lot of help.
Thank you, Gloria. We certainly will keep him in our prayers and thoughts. And I join with you in the joy of the fact that during this time, we have this archive of these recorded messages, and we can so much easily share that inspiration with others. So thank you for reminding us that's always available to each of us. Anyone else? So whether or not you decided to share today, if yours was a joy, we hope you feel us in celebration with you. And if yours was a sorrow, we hope that you feel our sympathy and our concern as well. And for all joys and sorrows that go unspoken, both here and around the world, let us take just a moment of silent meditation and prayer. In our closing song, Avi has selected a hymn that you'll remember from our time together at Penryn. So sing along with him.
Our world is one world. What touches one affects us all. The seas that wash us round about, the clouds that cover us, the rains that fall. Our world is one world. The thoughts we have affect us all. The way we build our attitudes we make a bridge or wall. Our world is one world, its ways of wealth affect us all. The way we spend, the way we share, who are the rich or poor, who stand or fall. Our world is one world, just like a ship that bears us all, where fear and greed make many holes, but where our hearts can hear a different call.
So say these words as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice flame, daring to carry forward the vision of this free faith that freedom, reason, and justice will one day prevail in this nation and across the earth. That concludes our service for this Sunday morning. We're so glad that you were with us, and we reward you with an extra hour of sunlight today. So now we can unmute ourselves and share in both the chat room and verbally.